In 1954, Toyota took the BJ Jeep and renamed it to the Toyota Land Cruiser. A short 4 years later, in 1958, the hardtop Land Cruiser was introduced to the United States. Now, if you fast forward 63 years, in 2021, Toyota discontinued the Land Cruiser because it was overpriced and it wasn't moving units. Now, in 2024, the Land Cruiser returns, more off-road capable, better technology, and a lower entry price. So let's find out if the 2024 Toyota Land Cruiser is worth the price, or if you should hold out and get something else that'll take you on the trails. All right, starting off in the front of the 2024 Toyota Land Cruiser, you can definitely see some remnants of the past generations because it looks quite similar, just a bit more modern. In the center here, you've got your large Toyota emblem that you find on all your past Land Rovers. On the side here, though, we do have dual tri-beam headlights, and then as well as a LED high beam light as well. So that's always great. Love the LED. And then you can see the daytime running light running on the top, turn signal, and then down at the bottom we've got some nice yellow fog lights. I like that. But what else I like is the completely functional front end. You've got vents on the sides here, you've got vents in the center here, vents in the center at the lower lip, and again on the side. The downfall is that this is entirely plastic. Everything is plastic. All right, now wrapping around to the side, you do see that the front bumper runs into the fender here and kind of outlines your front tire. The wheels are 20-inch wheels wrapped in this summer tire. Should be an off-road tire. Come on, give us that, Toyota, at least give us that. But overall, the wheels themselves do look pretty good. You got the Toyota logo in the center hubcap. Overall, not too bad. I just really would have liked to see some either all-terrain tires on there or something comparable. Moving a little bit further back, we do have large square side view mirrors. Now these really take you back to the old Land Cruisers or the FJ Cruisers, you know, the boxy side view mirrors. It does have a camera at the bottom as well as a turn signal indicator, and the mirror itself does defrost, and it also has lane departure warning. So it's got everything you need right there. We've got some steps along the sides. No, these are not rock sliders because they are plastic again, so be careful there. But you don't have paint to match door handles. Instead, they kind of fit into the whole theme of the grand scheme. Got black door handles though. Overall, they're nice and big, open real easy. And then at the top, straight from the factory on this edition here, we do have a nice metal roof rack. So that's fantastic as well. Going back a little bit further, you can see the lines that just follow the entire body. The hips stick out real nice. Overall, it's a good shaped car. But speaking of shapes, we've got some square taillights as well, LED. Overall, they look pretty stylish and sleek. Now, one thing that you may not like is that this is actually a 4-cylinder hybrid. And that's why we see here iForce Max. Again, in the center, we do have a Toyota emblem as well as a Land Cruiser emblem. I would have liked to see the rear window wiper tucked up under the spoiler. It just looks a lot better. I think it's a little bit more functional that way too. Clear off more of the top. Overall though, not too bad. One thing that is neat though, it's not a split door. It just opens up, but you do get to open the window. So that's pretty cool at least. But I would have loved a split hatch. So hidden behind this panel here is where the hitch is. Now this is plastic crap, but to the left of it is where you find your plug to plug in. The hitch is already installed. It's just being hidden for now. How about we check out the interior and see how it looks on this 2024 Land Cruiser. All right, right off the bat, you see more plastic, soft touch molding, but you do get some brown contrast. Overall, I like the brown. It's very soft. It fits the blue really well. Looks are subjective, but overall, I think it matches the exterior of this car fabulously. As for functions on the door itself, very typical stuff. You've got your fold in your side view mirror buttons, and then also your side view mirror controls, lock, unlock, one touch window operation, and 2 memory seat functions. I would have kind of liked to see this not just be painted or maybe actually be metal. But other than that, you know, it's rather functional. You can fit a water bottle down here. No big deal. Now the seats themselves are actually quite nice and they are pretty comfortable. There's no like embroidery or anything like that going on the seats, but you do get heated seats and ventilated seats, as well as 14-way power operation on the seats. But there's also a manual piece. You got this center piece right here for knee comfort. You just pull a lever and then it slides not very far. but it slides. Overall though, they are nice seats. They're not leather, they're Softex, but they feel pretty good. They'd last a while. If I was going off-roading, I'd probably throw a cover on there or something so that when I'm all muddy, I'm not ruining my nice brown seats. But let's hop in, see what's going on in here. All right off the bat, I can tell you it's definitely got better technology than the 2021 version. The steering wheel, I would have liked it to be a little bit more beefy, but it feels nice nonetheless. I just really would have liked a little bit more thickness on it. But on the left-hand side, you've got your multimedia controls. On the right-hand side, you've got your driver's assistance functions, and of course a little toot, very toot-tootish, but some piano black at the bottom of the steering wheel. Overall, it's a good looking steering wheel with lots of functionalities, so I like that. Not only that though, we do have power oscillating for up, down, in and out. So that's always fantastic, love that. The stalks themselves are all very standard. One thing that is a little bit different though, that you typically don't see in American cars, you will see them in like Canada, Europe, and things like that. You can actually turn off the daytime running lights in this. So that's interesting. That's on your left stalk. And on the right hand side, you do have your windshield wiper controls. But to the left of the steering wheel, you've got a nice little round vent that is very adjustable. And then if you turn that to the right, it closes it, turn it back to the left, and it opens it. Below that, you do have your headlights, your parking sensors, your digital gauge cluster brightness control, fog lights, the 120 volt outlet control, trunk release, gas cap, as well as built-in trailer brakes. So that's pretty awesome. Moving on beyond the steering wheel, you do have a very, very large digital gauge cluster. It is absolutely massive. It comes in at 12.3 inches, and you can change different settings so you can see your off-road stuff, how your braking is, how your accelerating is, your tilt, everything. So love that, very nice, as well as an extremely large heads-up display too. And what I love is that even with polarized glasses, you can still see it. That's pretty neat. Right here in the center is your eyesight monitoring. It wants to know that you're paying attention to the road. Otherwise, it won't use keep lane assist and things like that. But no big deal. Stay off your phone. Keep your eyes on the road. To the right of the steering wheel, we do have our push to start button, as well as our tow haul button and our volume knob and power knob for our infotainment center. Speaking of the infotainment center, absolutely massive. We have a 12.3 inch infotainment center here, and it is Toyota's latest software, so it's actually pretty responsive, and you've got different settings that you can go into, and in the vehicle settings actually you can go into your off-road information. So they'll tell you what gear you're in, your braking, your accelerating, and again your tilt. So that's pretty neat. Some off-road functions, gotta love that. Moving on below the infotainment center, you've got your hazard button, 2 more vents, heating and air controls, as well as your heated and ventilated seat functions and the heated steering wheel button. So that's great. Below that, you've got your button to view your camera rotation and all of your different views there. Love that. You've got a wireless charging pad, 3 Type-C USB ports, 1 also for data. To the left of the wireless charging pad, you do have a drive mode selector. Now, there are many modes on this because this is off-road capable. If you've got it in drive mode, you get sport, normal, and economy. And then if you switch it to the multi-terrain, you get auto, dirt, sand, mud, and deep snow. So that's pretty great. And I love how on the infotainment screen, it changes as you switch through them. That's pretty neat. Below that button, you've got your downhill acceleration control, or basically your cruise control for off-roading. Behind that, you've got your electronic parking brake, your auto hold button, your gear selector, of course, that's rather important. And then you've got a center differential lock, a rear differential lock, and you can unlock the sway bar with an electronic button or turn off your traction control. Awesome. And now, of course, because this is a Land Cruiser, you can also switch it into 4 high or 4 low. There is no 4 neutral, which is a little strange, but you get 4 high and 4 low. But you cannot completely disengage the transmission. Interesting. Now, one thing that's pretty cool is you don't get your standard center console. What you do get, though, is a cool box. So if you're going off-road for the day and you need some, cheese or something to stay cold and you don't have a cooler, you just stick it in here, turn on the cool box, and listen to that fan ramp up and keep your stuff cool. Also, you are not supposed to put your beef tartare or sushi in the cool box. It is not rated for that. And it will make it smell bad. Now above your center console and your infotainment center, you've got a very nice large rear view mirror, but what's even better about it, because when you're on the trail, this is actually more helpful than you would think. You also get a digital rear view mirror and 3 home link buttons. That's awesome. And one thing that's great about these is that you can set the pan up and down, the left and right, or the rotation of the mirror, and it's all right there. So, you know, very nice and easy to switch. But above that, we do have some touch operation dome lights. We do have a moonroof on this as well, so we've got some controls here to open that. You can turn it on for the door or just turn the lights on in general. Now, one thing that's a little bit interesting are these ginormous plastic sun visors. They're huge and they are very plastic indeed. And with a very large mirror too. Check yourself out. How about we hop in the back and see what's going on back there? Is the family going to be happy when you're banging the trails? All right, we're in the back now. And the doors look exactly the same as the front, but that's not what we're here to talk about. These back seats look absolutely comfortable, and they look just like the ones in the front, styled very nicely. Let's see if they're as comfortable as they look. Oh man, the only complaint I have is the posture they make you sit in. Like, they think everybody just wants to sit exactly straight up all the time? Come on. Oh wait. There's now we're talking. You can actually recline these rear seats, and that's pretty awesome. So both sides, it appears, reclines. You've got a lever on the left here and a lever on the right there, and you can kick them back a bit. So that's nice and handy. Love that. You've also got a cup holder in the center here, but that's not even the best part. You've got more power back here than you need. There's a 12-volt outlet in your cigarette jack style, 2 Type-C USB ports, and separate heating and air controls for the second row. Overall, the second row is quite nice, tons of room. We've got it set up over here all the way back on this seat, and I mean, I could still do this. It's not bad. I've got like maybe an inch of space there. I've got about 4 inches, 3 inches of headroom here. Uncle Steve would be a little cramped in this situation, but that's why I'm saving him the hassle and I'm doing it today. Let's see what's going on in the rear, because that's where you're gonna have to store all your gear when you're hitting the trail. All right, now it is an electronic gate, so you do just have a button you hit, walk away, it pops open. Just don't get hit by it. But you'll notice right off the gate, we've got a good sized platform here. Now that's because our battery's in the rear, so you lose a good bit of height to that, but it's still not too bad. It's really big. Reminds me of the 4Runner. Actually, it looks exactly like the rear of the 4Runner, but plenty of storage. You've got your roadside assistance stuff in here, so you got a jack and such. Great. And then below that, we have our battery. Can't really see it. I don't want to break it, but there's your battery. Fantastic. When, like we mentioned, when we were at the front, there is a 120 volt outlet. You'll find that over here on the right hand side. Awesome. Overall though, tons of room back here. You can absolutely fit a lot of suitcases or a lot of gear and do whatever you need to do. In order to get the seats out of the way so that you can store bigger and longer things in the back, what you do is first you just use that recline switch, and there you go. And then right here, you have this that comes out, and you wrap it around your oh shit bar, and then just kind of do that. And there you go. We've got her secured. Overall though, you don't get an absolutely flat surface, but you get like 1.5 feet more of length. So if you're trying to move some wood or something like that, that'll definitely help you out. Or if you're trying to build a platform system for all of your gear, that'll definitely help out. I would say the rear is pretty nice. All right, now before we hit the road and see how this monster handles the streets, first thing you gotta test is it safe for the family? Because you know, these electronic doors can be quite a predicament. So today we don't have an eggplant, but every day I've got an arm, but we'll see for how much longer. Not too bad at all. It barely touched me and it stopped. No big deal. That's not hurting anybody. But let's hop in, take her for a spin, and see how she handles the road. All right, now we're behind the wheel of this brand new 2024 Toyota Land Cruiser. Didn't think I'd be saying that for a while, but you know, it's definitely, shockingly, for a 4-cylinder engine, it's got a little bit of oomph. So I'm not too sad about that. I really would rather a V8 though, let's be honest, but we'll talk about that more a little bit later. Just wanted to get that out of the way. The front windshield is not too raked. it's raked a little bit, but not too bad at all. All the windows on this are absolutely massive. And of course, you've got 3 sets of windows along each side, so you can see basically everything. Even with Uncle Steve next to me, I can still see past him, and he's pretty big. But the comfortability is also quite comfortable. The seat is very comfortable. No complaints whatsoever about that. Now, as far as handling goes, the steering is very nice. It's got a little bit of weight behind it. Again, I would really like a little bit thicker of a steering wheel, just something a little bit beefier to hang on to. But the steering itself is quite nice. No complaints there. It doesn't feel dead inside. We do have some wet conditions today too, and the braking is also not too shabby at all. We're in sport mode right now, and the acceleration, not too bad at all. The engine though is very noisy. It's not quiet, and also we're only going like 45, 50 miles per hour, and there's a lot of wind noise too. So it's not a quiet cabin, but it's a comfortable cabin. It feels rather luxurious, but still off-roady. You do have a lot of like soft touch plastic and things like that in here, but it doesn't feel cheap, I guess. Now, as far as safety is concerned, for the 2024 Land Cruiser, it of course just has basically everything that Toyota offers. It's got lane departure warning, it's got adaptive cruise control, it can keep you centered in your lane. Yeah, so it's got basically everything that you need and everything that you could want. All right, now let's test 0 to 60 in the 2024 Toyota Land Cruiser. We've got our race box set up, we've got it in sport mode, so let's see how she does. So we got 0 to 60 in 8.32 seconds and 0 to 30 in 3.29. Now, you're not picking up a Land Cruiser though so that you can race everybody. You're mostly taking it on the trail, or just because you think it looks fantastic and you want the capabilities that it has. But for a 4-cylinder, it's not too shabby, 8.32.
Yeah, on paper it's 8 seconds, so we're pretty close.
Yeah, we're pretty close. I mean, maybe if there wasn't 2 grown men in the car.
And rain.
And rain, yeah. But I definitely can't complain about 8.32 then if paper says 8.
Yeah, the paper say 8.
Cool. Well, now that you've got so much to say, Uncle Steve, how about we get you in the driver's seat so you can tell us more about the powertrain and what makes this car move?
Well, it's time for Uncle Steve to test drive this new Land Cruiser. Oh, first, I'm going to talk about how I feel about this Land Cruiser. Then I'm going to talk about the powertrain. Well, to compare to my 80 series Land Cruiser, it's really similar the way that I feel. Like how comfortable is it? This is really comfortable. It's sitting tall, and then the seat is pretty wide enough for my big ass. And everything is about the control is about the same. The position of the control is about the same. The visibility is great on both cars.
Well, now, Steve, for comparison, though, so everybody knows, what year is your Land Cruiser?
Oh, the Land Cruiser I have is 1996. It is a Lexus LX 450.
Oh, okay.
So it was the first year that Toyota introduced a luxury Land Cruiser.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So about 28 years later, you got this bad boy.
Yeah. It's about the same, you know, like not in a bad way, in a good way, because they got this old technology, but in terms of seating position and visibility and comfort and the size, actually they're both similar size.
Oh, nice.
So the acceleration is good, you know, compared to my 0 to 60 is 11 seconds. And it has an E96 engine for the older one. And then for this one, 0 to 60, like we said on paper, is 8 seconds. And it has a 2.4 liter E96 turbocharged iForce Max engine. It produces 326 horsepower and 465 foot-pound of torque. That's a lot of torque, you know.
That is.
And it has 2 electric motors that mounted with the transmission. The transmission is an 8-speed automatic. It's not CVT, you know. I've been saying that the hybrid engine, most of the hybrid powertrain, they come with a CVT transmission. So you don't have to worry about towing heavy stuff. Oh, in fact, let me ask Josh what is the towing capacity.
Well, surprisingly, even with this 4-cylinder, you can still tow 6,000 pounds with this, which surprises me quite a bit.
Yeah, that 6,000 pounds is a lot. You can tow a boat, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. However, they only offer one powertrain in the US. In the Australia, they actually offer 4-cylinder turbo diesel.
Now that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know, right? even 6-cylinder is better. 6-cylinder diesel, turbo diesel, damn, that's the best.
Right?
But unfortunately, the regulation don't allow US to sell diesel anymore, right? Maybe not that much, or it's really strict.
I think so.
For the mile per gallon is 22 in the city and 25 on the highway. For this big car, it's actually not bad compared to my FJ is 11 mile per gallon. However, this car is require premium gas.
Womp womp.
You know, speaking to a turbo and gas, a lot of manufacturers, they said they minimum require 89. In my opinion, if you're doing towing, if you have heavy foot, you want to do 0 to 60 every single red light, you should put premium gas, at least 91 octane. The reason for that, if you force it, if you have lower octane, most likely you're gonna create locking in the engine. That's not good. For the regular driving, minimum is fine, 87. But if you drive like Josh, please put 100 octane in it.
I only order race fuel, okay?
Damn. Oh, see? You have the money, so tell us about how much this thing costs.
Hey, if I can afford race fuel, I can afford this bad boy. Because one thing that they really tried to do when they reintroduced this year was try to make it more affordable, right? So actually, you might be surprised at this, Uncle Steve. The base price for the 2024 Land Cruiser is actually the retro edition, right? It has cloth seats, it's 1958 edition, etc. But it comes in at $57,345. Not bad.
Wow.
Not too shabby. But the one that we're driving today is the middle edition. It's just the Land Cruiser, but it comes in at $63,345.
Wow.
But now in 2024, they also included a first edition model because, hey, it was the first one back in 3 years. So it had to have a first edition. It doesn't really have too many changes, but it comes in at $76,345. But basically, from $55,000 to $75,000, you can get a 2024 Land Cruiser.
Wow. In my opinion, a little bit too much for what it is. First of all, it doesn't have the front locker. You know, they even don't offer a front locker at all. They just like put in a rear and center locker, and that's it.
You know what else it doesn't have that surprises me? It doesn't have a second start switch.
Second start switch.
Do you not know what that is, Uncle Steve?
I have no idea.
Okay, well, when you're in slippery conditions, whether it's snow or mud or anything like that, you hit that second start so that you've got a little bit more torque and you don't spin the tires as easily.
Now I got it. Actually, my FJ80 has it.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I use that all the time.
My GX has it too.
Yeah. How do you compare your GX to this?
Pretty comparable in terms of capability and in terms of size and everything like that. They're all basically modeled after the same thing, right? It's relatively similar. The GX lineups are just a little bit nicer on the inside than the Toyota lineups, right? Lexus makes that a point.
Well, guess what? Today, Uncle Steve's story time, we're gonna talk about the GX, the Land Cruiser, and the 4Runner. A lot of people think the 4Runner and the Land Cruiser is built on the same chassis. In fact, that's not actually. For this one, yes. But for the previous model, it's not.
Oh.
Yeah. They also, people think the GX and the 4Runner is the same chassis too. Actually, it's not. So will you wait for it for the 2025 4Runner, or you want to get this right now?
Well, honestly, I'm a sucker for 4Runners. I've personally owned 2 or 3 of them. I've got one in my garage right now sitting next to my GX. I'd have to wait for the 4Runner.
Yeah, and especially the price is really close to it as far as I know as of right now.
I personally feel that 4Runners are even more capable, especially nowadays.
That's all the TRD Pro, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I would do the same thing. In my opinion, the 4Runner actually look better than this. especially they're using the rear window design, they kind of like carry over from the last, I don't know, last few generations.
I like that this one opens at least,
Yeah.
but just put the roll down window on all of them.
Exactly, right? They patent it. Nobody can copy that thing.
Yeah.
So that's how I feel about this, the new Land Cruiser. What about you, Josh?
I like it. I don't dislike it in any way, really. There's some things I wish it had that I think it should have and stuff. But overall, I don't really think that the price is all that bad considering. Like, you know, the new 4Runners and stuff are basically in line with it price-wise. So I was expecting it to be, you know, maybe more $70,000, $80,000 when they announced it coming back.
For the 4Runner, right?
No, for the Land Cruiser.
Land Cruiser, okay.
But instead they tried to make it more affordable, which is great. I like how it looks. I like how it drives. I like, you know, the capabilities it has. I do think that it should have had a little bit more, but overall, I mean, it's a fun SUV. Well, there you have it. In conclusion, what do we think of the 2024 Toyota Land Cruiser? Hey, you heard it. It's a fun, capable SUV. It's relatively off-road ready. So if that's what you're looking for and you want to just hit some moderate trails and you don't want to have to build out your car or anything like that, this could do it. It's also comfortable for the family. It's got updated infotainment, everything like that. What I think is that if you're in the market for something like this, you should definitely go test drive one, see how you feel about it. After that, test drive a GX, the new GX 550, also really nice. Test drive the 4Runner and see what you like out of the bunch. Well, until next time, smash up the likes, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you on the next video.